Welcome to the FMS Platform's FMS portal and dashboard. Course info is located at this particular address if you're on the FMS server. You can get the slides there and some other information. And no need to register for the attendance log. This is the online video version. Okay, our objectives today are going to be to cover each of the portal tabs, the front page, the documents, school files, applications, reporting, dashboard. We're going to cover the FMS payroll employee portal as well, and then the accounting services for FMS employees. Okay, the main objectives are going to be able to access and run common Empower reports, as well as to convert the SRW reports to dashboard reports and drill down on those. Also, to be able to create and submit the FMS support tickets by using the TeamTrack module instead of email. Prerequisites for the course, of course, are going to be access to FMS portal. So I'm assuming both of you have that, but if anyone's watching on YouTube and you need access to the FMS portal and you are an FMS client, please contact our help desk, and then also to the FMS GUI software. Alright, so the reason the portal was created was to provide a unique and secure features to better serve our customers. It does give us tools to review and display information through the various reporting packages, of course the ability to run those reports, and then the ability to securely send that information out to our FMS clients from FMS employees and vice versa without going outside of FMS's servers, so it stays secure behind those server walls. And then, of course, access to the FMS portal is going to be through either the fmssolutions.com website, or this link here will take you directly to the portal login. Let me bring that Internet Explorer in so you can see that. This is FMS Solutions' main website here, and at the top we have the apps login and the portal login. The portal login is the link that you're going to want to click. That'll take us to the portal login screen, and you'll sign in here. This just shows again where that is. This is actually accessing the old website look. It's in the same location. And here's the initial login screen here. Okay, the front page of the portal is the first tab that we're going to cover today, and we're going to look at the user preferences, system updates, the FMS portal itself, observing the headlines, best practices, and inside solutions. Those are the main parts of the front page. And the front page offers information about industry trends, upcoming events, and enhancements to the FMS platform. So I'm going to pull the actual portal back into play here so we can look at that and click on front page. All the tabs are listed across the top. Make that a little bigger. Okay, as you can see here, we've got our user preferences, our user settings, so you see my first and last name and my user ID, and the output queue where my reports go to. That's going to be the default. You can set those based on whatever environments you have access to, whichever one you use the most. You want to make sure your email is correct and your time zone is set correctly. By default, when IT sets up these user IDs, they always say Eastern time, so if you're in a different time zone, you're going to want to update that. You can also change your password here and change your reminder question and answer. Anytime you make a change here, make sure you click the update button. Scrolling down, the system update section, this is going to be anytime we have software updates. So the last one that we had was the Q3 2014 release. If you click on this link, it will bring up a PDF of the notes from the release itself and instructions on how to set things up. One thing to note, we do have videos for the entire Q3 release, both in total and individually by item. So on the YouTube channel, it's FMS Solutions is the channel. It's all one word. There's some portal release notes, and then you can see older ones are down through here as well. Up at the top in the FMS portal box, this is just a welcome message and gives you the number for the support desk. So in our case, it's option 2 or extension 2 when you dial this number, or you can use this email. This is mainly for our clients. As far as help desk tickets go for internally, we're going to use the Team Track program in the Accounting Services tab that we'll cover a little bit later. The Observing the Headlines boxes are from the FMS Grocers Forum, which is similar to a Facebook page, but just for FMS clients, and then some other news that gets published out here. In the Best Practices box, this is actually a supermarket toolbox, which is pretty handy. If you click on the link, it will open up this map of a store, and every department that you click has either articles on best practices or some type of worksheets or anything that might be pertinent to that particular department. So you can see it changes over here on the right depending on the department that you click. It's a good place to go get information about individual departments and stores in general. Down below, the last box is the Smart Decisions box, and this is the library of newsletters that have been made available. You can see it's a little bit dated. These need to be updated as well. But the last one here is the Smart Decisions from March 2014. When you open one of these, it's the FMS newsletter on, well, my Internet Explorer has crashed. Give it one moment to recover. Basically, the FMS newsletter has best practices and important dates, etc. So feel free to browse those and read at your convenience. These also get emailed out as they're published to our staff and clients. And that's it for the front page tab. The next, well, here's some screenshots from the front page that are on the slides if you go and get the slides. Okay, the next page is the Documents tab. On the Documents tab, we're going to cover Actions, Preferences, and the Document List are the boxes that are available there. But what the Documents tab does, it provides access to view and share your documents and other files securely. And also, you're able to receive reports from Portal Copy, which will be the spool files, Dashboard, File Upload, or FMS Mail. Let's pull this back over and look at the Documents tab. Okay, as you can see, I've got quite a few documents here that are listed. You can see the list of them here, and right now they're sorted by the most current, but you can filter that based on, you know, earliest or size or name or whatever you'd like to do. To click on these, all you do is just open it up, and it's one store name there, information. Whatever the report is that you send is what's going to be listed here. You can upload files to your Documents tab in order to share those securely with your clients, or your clients can upload them and share them securely with you. Again, this stays behind the server wall, https portal.fmssolutions.com. So anytime there's an S after the HTTP, it means it's a secure site. We have a graph here that shows whether or not your Documents tab is getting close to full. You can see I'm only using a little bit. Once you get to 100 megabytes, the system automatically deletes the oldest 20 megabytes of data that you have in here. So it only lets you keep 100 megabytes at a time. If you go to upload a file, you can just browse to that file location on your desktop or wherever you have it saved. It accepts all these different file types, but it limits it to 10 megabytes. That keeps people from loading videos and audio and things like that. Really, the other buttons here is going to be select all or unselect all, just ways to manage how to delete certain items, selected items, or all but last 6 months, all but this year, etc. And then under the Preferences tab, we've got Notify Me after Portal Copy completes and notify me after receiving new documents. These options are also available under your user preferences on the front page. I recommend not checking notify me after portal copy completes, and I'll show you why in just a moment. But I do recommend checking the notify me after receiving new documents, and then make sure your email address is correct and hit update email. What's going to happen if someone sends you a document, then you're going to get an email to whatever address you put here that says you have a new document in your portal documents tab. It doesn't tell you what it is for security reasons, but it alerts you to go check those out. They'll be listed here at the top with a new flag. If you check the notify me after portal copy completes, it's not going to hurt anything, but it's going to send you an email that says, hey, you just portal copied something to someone and it actually completed. But when you do it anyway, you get a pop-up that tells you it was completed, so there's really no need to get that email unless you're trying to save it for just cover yourself purposes. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the Documents tab. We're going to jump on over to the Spool Files tab, and then we'll flip back to Documents to see about the portal copy feature. So let's go through the get there on the slides. So here's a screenshot of the Documents tab if you're printing off the slides. Alright, so under Spool Files, we're going to look at the same type of boxes: Actions, Selections, and Document List. And basically, the Spool Files let you view and convert focus reports into PDF, Excel, or text, and then you can portal copy it to Documents tab. So let's jump back to that and go to Spool Files. Okay, one thing to note, I recommend always using this Spool Files instead of the one in the system, and I'll show you why. Let's actually log into a demo environment really fast. And we'll run a quick report. Okay. I'm just printing that report there. So basically, back on the main page, the user spools down here on the left is the same as the spool file in the portal. So if I clicked on it here, it takes me to this long list of things, but when I hit it and hit view, it's just going to give me the top left version of whatever report I'm looking at. In order to see everything on this report, you have to slide over, slide up and down. It's really not very user friendly. And you can, of course, print it or email it from here, but if it stays over email, it's not going to be secure. And if you print it, then it's obviously a hard copy and not something electronic that you can work with. So drag that out of the way. Go to the spool file and output queue that I was just using. And if you're a apps client, you'll be locked in. And then you have your list of everything that was in that spool file. Well, here's the report I just ran. When you click on it there, it's going to open up in a PDF, web PDF version. So now you can save it. It's a full page that you're looking at one time. You can print, you can email, do whatever you want with it at this point. Makes it a little bit easier to use. In addition, we have the ability to convert any report to Excel and any report to a text file. Obviously, not every report is going to convert well to Excel, but trial balance reports and things of that nature work really well. Alright, so now we're going to talk about the portal copy feature. If I check the report and say I want to send that to someone, I'm going to check that, hit portal copy. And then my list of available addresses or portal addresses are going to show up. So I want to send it to myself. And to give it a second to filter. And now you see everybody with Chris in the first name shows up out of my list. So I can rename the file at this point if I want to. I can change it to an Excel conversion or a text conversion. But now we're just going to check the box of myself and hit copy to users. This is going to show up in my portal documents tab. Anytime you use portal copy, it always goes there on whoever's portal you're sending it to. See, this is the pop-up message that said it's successfully copied. And I'll have gotten an email as well that tells me that I received a document. So now if I jump back over to my Documents tab, you'll see the reports here, all corporations. So this is how we can securely send things to our clients. Anything with a social security number needs to be sent through here instead of through email, etc., etc. Here's a copy of the email that I just received. Again, if you have any questions, please just chime in. Okay. Back to spool files. I recommend keeping your spool files relatively clean. If there's any reports that you need to keep, go ahead and portal copy them to yourself in your Documents tab. It's much easier to work with a clean spool file than having to filter down through hundreds of reports. As you can see, I've got quite a few here. You can also set your defaults to your user queue and your output queue if you have multiple ones, whichever one you use the most. And you can also do some selection limits like date limits and things like that. The only other feature on here is this show details. For some reason, if you're having a problem with a report, the IT department may ask you to look at some of this other types of information. For the most part, you won't need job numbers and job names. You're just going to need the user data, the pages, and the file names. This is why it's important to change the date or the time zone on the front page. You can see whenever these reports are ran, they're going to come through at the correct time that you ran them instead of in an Eastern time zone time. Okay, that's spool files. So here's a screenshot of a spool file. The Applications tab is next. This one's actually going to give us access to the Focus software, the Java version of that, so you can access that from anywhere on the web. Also, if the client's using PayPower, they can click here and get into PayPower as well. And there's also a library of manuals here for GL and payroll. So let's jump back in and go to the Applications tab. Okay, so here's the launch for the Focus GL and payroll. So this is going to be APGL, the normal FMS software. And then the PayPower launcher is here. This is the list of all the manuals that we have published out here for now. We'll be adding to those soon, hopefully. And that's pretty much it for the Applications tab. There's a screenshot of that. We'll move on to the Reporting tab. This one's a very important one for FMS accountants and for our clients. But basically this gives us access to the Empower software, both ad hoc and common reports. The Empower user manual is here, as well as some pivot table documentation, and then any reports that we have in common reports. Empower is a reporting tool that allows you to generate reports through basically out of our database. So if there's a field in FMS that you want to run a report on or to pull out, we can typically get that through creating an Empower report. And there's quite a lot of Empower reports that are already out there, and we provide over 30 common reports already ready to go for our clients and for the staff to make things a little bit easier. So let's jump into that. Click on Reporting. Okay, we're going to start with the common reports under the My Reports box first, and then we'll kind of jump into some of this other stuff. So I'm going to click on Accounting Services Shared Payroll. Depending on the client, you'll have, for example, any of these other clients would be on there. but you would have a specific access if you were, had your own environment or something like that. So, okay, so clicking on the tabs for common reports, you can see that we've got all these different types of reports that we can click. One that we covered in the year-end payroll meeting the other day was this discontinued 401k contributions. That's a good one to click, especially at year-end, so that you can know of anybody that 401k has been turned off during the year, so that we can make sure that we don't turn them back on accidentally going into the new year for payroll. There's tons of reports out here that can be ran. So, for example, a new hire report, whatever it may be. Just click on one, you can kind of see the login screen. So basically you pick your client number and then you just follow the prompts for the instructions. So the date of hire would be in this range, etc. And so on and so forth. The report formats could be in HTML, Excel, formatted Excel, PDF, etc. Let's go to this demo client and see if we have somebody in here that we can see. So in this case, it's asking for century, year, month, and date. Anytime it asks for a century, you just put a 1 in there. I want to do this for January 1st or January 8th, 2008 through 12/31/2008, and let's see what happens. Hopefully we'll get a report we can see. So you can see it gave us a fake employee here for the demo environment. Basically gives you this information. Any of the other common reports that are out here you can actually run for your clients. There's lots of, these are all payroll reports that are commonly available. We do, going back, there's also the general ledger, the accounting and AP and GL reports that are available in the common reports. You just got to click on the appropriate tab. The pre-close report should be used by the accountants to run when they close each period to see if there are any AP entries that got pushed into the next period for by the pre-close being set. Those things would need to be accrued for. There's tons of other reports you can take a look at. But the main thing here is going to be the ad hoc reporting, especially for the apps clients and the FMS accountants. If you open that up, you're going to use your FMS login, whatever login was given to you for Empower. Go ahead and sign in. And this opens up the Empower software. When you first log in, it's probably going to look something like this. You just click Manage Applications and go to Reports. By and large, most of the reports you're going to need are going to be here. You don't need to worry about retrievals, summaries, or maintainers unless you're running a more sophisticated report. But then you can go into these boxes and look for, you can filter, say I want a report, find a report for vendors, type in vendors, hit enter, and now it's going to bring up anything that has vendors in the title. Take out the S, there's probably going to be some more available, yeah. So then you can run these or take a look at them and see if there's something that you can use for your client before you even bother with writing another report. Typically, if they say PC here, it's a common report that's already available. A couple of reports to make you aware of, especially from the FMS accountant's viewpoint, are the 6000 series reports. And these will actually let you go in. Here's account activity enhanced, account activity with posted date, account activity with vendor broken out, etc. The reason these are important is, first of all, the FMS system is based on weeks. So if you go into the system and run a trial balance or a detailed general ledger, you're going to get, say you put January 1 through January 31st. Well, it's going to, default back to the beginning of that week and the end of the last week that you put in your range. So you're going to get extra days that you don't necessarily want for your reporting. So this lets you go and get transactional information by day. So I can go in for sales taxes, for example, and get January 1st through January 31 without worrying about the system pulling in other days information. the way that this one works out pretty well for us is that in the description, in the GL, you got the invoice number, the vendor as part of the description. It's not broken out, and it's hard to go in and break out through some kind of Excel function because the invoice number is not always the same length. So what this does is actually break out in its own column the vendor name, so you can filter based on vendor name. And then the one down here, 6006, account activity stats, actually pulls any statistical activity for a range of stat accounts. If you ran a stat account in the normal account activity, you would get zeros because it goes in a different field in the system. So these are some handy reports to use from an accounting standpoint. And there's tons of other reports out here available in Empower. We're probably going to do a basic Empower course early next year on how to write Empower reports. But for now, if you have questions, please give me a call or go out here and look around and see if there's something you can use. One thing we do out of common courtesy, though, is don't take a report that's already in place and change it. If you're ever going to want to play with one, you want to edit it. And either, oh, not from here, sorry. You're going to want to click this gear and then hit copy application and make a copy for you to play with. Don't change someone else's report. Okay, back to the reporting tab. We have the Empower user manual here. So this is a pretty short manual that kind of walks you through each of the fields in Empower and kind of shows you exactly what's going on. Empower has some great help within the software itself as well, so it might be worth reading through this manual before you take any kind of Empower training. And then Empower does allow for pivot table documentation. This is the manual on how to do that in Empower. I typically get the data from Empower out of our system and put it in Excel and run pivot tables there, but you do have the option of doing pivot tables in Empower itself. All right. So here's a screenshot of the reporting tab and some of the Empower screens for common reports. All right, the dashboard tab is next, and basically within the dashboard tab, that's the dashboard view and dashboard designer. The dashboard view lets you view created reports from our structured report writer module that's in the Focus software. You can convert those reports to dashboard. They will appear on the dashboard based on security that you've given. We'll take a look at that in just a minute. And then the dashboard designer is basically a tool that's used to create dashboard reports as well. It's pretty much the same as structured report writer, just set up just a little bit differently, but it works hand in hand with SRW in the system. Let's click on that. Okay, so when you first click into the dashboard tab, you're not going to see very much. You see the dashboard view with nothing selected, and then you see dashboard designer. So right now I'm going to log out of here and log into a demo login so that I can show you a drill down report in dashboard. Okay. So we'll go over to dashboard. And now you see the dashboard view pops up with a tree here. This is all the reports that are available to this user. We're going to click on this key performance indicator report. We're going to drill down to the lowest level. Basically the upper level here is going to be the report itself, and then each one below it's going to be the instances of those reports. So you can see here we've got report number 20 on 9/28/2008. This is report number 19. I want to drill down to the Baltimore area. We'll click on that link and we'll get a report showing up in this screen here. Okay, so we have a KPI report, or Key Performance Indicator report, for this demo client here. Some options that we have before we even mess around with the numbers here is we have an option to convert this report to Excel. That will send it to your Documents tab, and it will send it as numbers only. If there's formulas, it'll just be a number. It won't make formulas in Excel. You can do printer friendly. You can add it to your mobile device. If you log on to the FMS portal through the mobile website, it will bring up a list of reports that you've added to mobile. So if you go here and click Add to Mobile on this screen and then log in to the mobile site, you can view this report on your mobile device. And then you can also set as a KPI chart here at the top of the screen. If this report is like sales by department, that's really pretty handy for a KPI. This one with all of this information is going to be a little bit cumbersome, but you can at least get an idea of what it does. So if you click Set as KPI, it throws a report up here at the top. So it's going to show sales and purchases for these people based on the graph. And you have options on your graph how you want it to be. And it's easy to remove it as well. And again, you have pie charts, 3D pie charts, etc. Some clients had asked for that, and we added that onto the dashboard for them. That's it for the actions up here, but let's look at the actual report itself. So this particular report is a tab-based report. You have current week and you have last year. But you also have sales, purchases, and all these other things. You'll notice a little plus here. You can open up sales and you can see sales by department. Same thing with purchases, and so on and so forth. If your report is multiple pages, you can page down here and go all the way to the end, just normal navigation tools. If you notice, most of the items are going to have a link here for the number instead of just a text number like a formula would have. If it's a link, it means it's pulling an actual account or a range of accounts out of the system, and you can drill, or our clients can drill right down to the general ledger from here without having to log into the FMS software. So if we want to see what of grocery purchases is making up $186,000, we just click that and a new tab will open up in our browser. And you can see we've got 3 different accounts from the general ledger making up the $186,000. Here's our net amount. If I want to drill down further, I just click on the account that I want to drill down into. So we'll click on purchases. And down below you'll see all the purchases that make up that $187,000. Now, if the client is using AP imaging, where they're scanning AP invoices and they're being indexed to the AP invoice in the system, the image will show up here as well. So the client can go all the way from a KPI report down to the image that makes up a purchase, and you'll have an image button over here on the right. So this Pepsi Cola, if I click image, it's just going to open up in a new tab the invoice itself. And the client now can save, print, email, whatever they want to do based on the PDF browser options. That works the same with general ledger imaging as well, and payroll imaging as well, or that may be coming in the near future. I don't know that GL imaging is out here yet. Okay, we're gonna scroll down here to Dashboard Designer now, and then kind of bring that up as well as bring up the SRW in the system. Give that a chance to load. It is a Java program. I'm gonna bring up SRW here. So that would be General Ledger Reports, Define and Run Structured Reports. Use the same login that you would use for your FMS environment. And you can see it's pretty much the same thing. You've got the same list of reports. You've got the same buttons across the top here that coincide for the most part. So you can see here, just on this particular one, here's a rows button. Well, I don't have a rows button here. You have to click on it and hit edit. And then now you have tabs, rows, columns, etc. What you can do in here is set tabs. So if you remember from our report, we had current week and last year. So you can set different time frames for tabs. You can work with the rows just like we do over here in Structured Report Writer, etc., etc. The only difference, there's a couple of differences here, is the schedule button. What that's going to do is allow you to schedule this to automatically run at a particular time. So if I went to add a schedule, now you can see, you can tell it when to run, certain days of the week, etc., time of day, things like that. So you can set reports to automatically run. This comes in handy with clients who are loading purchases on a daily basis and they want to see what purchases are at the end of the week automatically. So you can set that to run and it'll pull that information in for them. But everything else can be done through the Structured Report Writer itself. The main thing when you're going to put a report onto Dashboard is you find a report that you want to convert and you just highlight it and hit Convert to Dashboard. It's going to ask you if you want to run an extract. We're just going to say no. And now the dashboard ability has been enabled. In years past, we had to go in and add headers and all kinds of things to make it work on the dashboard, but now it's all done through this one button. So if I was going to go run an extract now, I would hit Extract, run New Extract, just like normal. And now you can see the export option has been turned on to export to dashboard. That's what D means. And the print after extract has been turned off. You just put in your description, the date, whatever you want to show up, and it will go out to the dashboard based on whoever you've given access to see it. If you want a PDF version to print to your spool file, you simply just check that back, print after extract. That's it, and you get a report in your spool file and on the dashboard. Now, security. If I want someone to be able to see this report on the dashboard that I've run, I want to click security, and if I went to my login, which is this one, you can see that it's already turned on blue and I've got a B security, which stands for both. It means I can execute the report and look at it on the dashboard. But if I wanted OIS demo here to only be able to see it, I would click dashboard. So if that was our client and we didn't want them to be able to run it just to see it, then we would make that a D and they could go onto their dashboard and see that report that we just ran. That's really all you have to do for converting a report to dashboard and making it secure for the people who need to see it. There's other training on Structured Report Writer and Dashboard Designer that's not part of this training, so stay tuned for those. All right. So here's some screenshots of the dashboard with that KPI report, drill down capability, and some of the graphing that's available. There's the Dashboard Designer. All right, now we're going to look at the employee portal. What I'm going to do is play a video from YouTube that goes through the employee portal, and I'll kind of narrate that as we go. The audio coming through, I can't pick up on this recording, so I'll do the narration for it. But Dominic is the one that's actually running through the demo itself. But what the employee portal does is basically through our Focus Payroll product, employees of our clients can now have their own unique login and get to their employee portal to get copies of their check stubs and their W-2s and things like that. Let's take a look at that. All right, so once they bring up the link to the employee portal, they'll need to sign in. Now we give each of our clients their own organization client ID, and they need to have someone who's kind of in charge of this, who will manage the usernames and things of that nature. But when an employee signs in, they'll see this screen. In just a moment, he'll zoom in here to the employee portal sign up. Give him a second to catch up. Okay, so the employee gets to pick their own screen name. They'll type that in. And they'll get, obviously their first and last name and their email address that they want to use. verify their email address here. Now they'll need to make sure they use the date of birth that is in the FMS payroll software. If it's incorrectly in the software, this will not work. So they'll need to make sure they use the right one. And then use the organization client ID. They'll get that from whoever is in charge of their employee portal set up at the client's office. That person will be in charge of resetting passwords and things of that nature. Of course, they'll put in their social security number, which should also tie to the FMS software. Click sign up. You'll get a message that says that they successfully signed up for the employee portal, and there's an email that was sent to the email address they listed with a temporary password and a link to sign in to the main portal page. Here's a copy of the email. You can see the link as well as the screen name and password, temporary password that was given. As soon as they sign in, they'll have to change that. One thing to note, the employee portal is not the same as the FMS portal, so they're not going to have all of the access that we just covered that we have access to from a GL and accounting standpoint. So they're going to put in their new password. I'll have to enter it again for verification. This is common password protocol. Now they'll pick a password reminder. You can use it from the list of fixed questions, or you can write your own. They're choosing to write their own. What is my dog's name? And just make sure you remember what your answer is. In this case, I don't have a dog. Hit save. Okay, and this takes you right into the employee payroll portal. This user preferences looks similar to what we were looking at on the other FMS portal, but basically first name, last name, and all that needs to be verified. The other side is going to be the pay stubs, so it's going to list of all their available pay stubs, check number, gross pay, etc. And then eventually there'll be a W-2 link at the top as well. When you click on that, it's going to bring up the PDF version of that pay stub. They can save it, print it, email it, whatever they want to do at this point. You'll note that most of the social security number is masked, so if it does get emailed, it won't compromise their secure information. And that's pretty much it for the employee portal. That's a brief snapshot of what's going on there. I'll get that out of the way. Here's a snapshot of the employee portal. Now the accounting services tab is going to be the last tab that we look at. Basically, this is the place to launch the help desk and some other accounting services information. So we can create support tickets here. This is the best place to do support tickets, especially ones with attachments, and then some other documents are available to us. So let's jump into that. Here we go. All right, so if there's any kind of notice that needs to be put out there, you'll have a little error message up here at the top that tells you if there's some kind of issue going on with the particular page that you're on. In this case, the first thing we see is under the accounting services window is a list of all these organizations and the organizations that I have access to in my portal copy list. So basically right now there's just a couple of the FMS and one of our clients that I have access to, but I can add in other clients and add those people to my list from here and just click update. So it makes that pretty easy. You can get rid of most of the other ones that you don't need to make your list smaller. Down below we have accounting services information. So basically there's a list of documents here. Right now the focus payroll tax table request form for our staff and installers or clients that have a new payroll tax table that need to be added. This form should be filled out and sent to our help desk through the TeamTrack software. A new data system is like a new library, so most of the time it's going to be our installers who are going to need this. A new hire form, this is going to be for our accounting managers here at FMS to, if they hire anybody, they send that to IT, who will fill out the user IDs and things that they need. A portal user request form, which we may need for all of us. If our clients need a new portal user or if we need to add some other people, this form should be filled out and sent in. And then, of course, the TeamTrack manual to show us how to use the TeamTrack software. I'm going to briefly show you how to do a basic ticket, though, by hitting Open Application and then signing in. This is going to be your network login. And this is what TeamTrack looks like when you send it in. So a list of all of your tickets are listed down below. In my case, I've had 422 over the years. But you can click on those and get information about any of those things that you want. The best way to submit one, though, is just hit Submit. It's going to open up this little template. The first thing you're going to do is choose incident type. We're going to say a task, but you have enhancement requests, so anytime you see something, somebody put us on hold. I'm going to pause the recording for a moment. All right. Should be back here now. So this is the ticket template. So we're going to choose the incident type, whether it's an enhancement, a problem, an information request, or a task. We'll choose task. And then, so say for example, we need a new check overlay made for one of our clients' bank accounts. So we're going to say check overlay. You may want to say what client it is. Then you want a detailed description of exactly what you need. Typically for check overlays, I put the bank code that's associated with it, some descriptions about what I need, etc., etc. Just make it as much detail as possible here so that you don't get follow-up requests from the help desk. It just makes things a little bit simpler. But if they do follow up, the system actually tracks all the emails back and forth between you. So be nice to each other, and because it's going to be saved. The module is going to be kind of the big general overview. So we're going to, you'll pick exactly which area you want your ticket to fall under. In this case, we're doing a check overlay, so I'm going to pick FMS check. And the submodule kind of helps narrow it down exactly what you need. In this case, we need an overlay setup. Now, if I had, a picture of the client's check that we needed to make the overlay look like, I would just add that in by clicking Actions and doing Add File. And it's going to bring up a box to browse and bring that file in. Once you get your ticket completed, all the files added to it, you can just hit OK, and it will be a live ticket. You'll get an email that says you've submitted a ticket to the help desk, and then someone will follow up with you on that. The reason that we recommend using this instead of email, especially with attachments, is that the system doesn't do well taking the attachments from an email. Typically, it will clean those off, and then you'll be contacted by someone at the help desk asking, what attachments need to go with your ticket. So this by far is the best way to do it and the most efficient in the long run. So at any time, you can go back to the home screen and then go to your ticket, and you can click on here and you'll see, okay, this was submitted by me. This is when it went into the system, and then whoever it was given to will be assigned. And if they take any actions or transfer it to anybody else, it'll just keep making this list as far as it goes. I have seen some in IT that there's so many transfers back and forth, it's just a full page of these gray boxes. So it just depends on how involved your ticket is. But that's pretty much it for TeamTrack. Jump back to our slides. There's just a snapshot of the accounting services portal page. And that's it for the FMS portal. That's my contact information. If you have any questions or you want to send me an email, certainly can do so. But I thank you for attending today.